Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday's Memorial Day Revolutionary Change. It's special. We have a couple of Liberty survivors here tonight, so we're excited about that. I feel very honored that I feel like they picked us for Memorial Day.
They did. They sought us out.
And that pleases me so much. So welcome, everybody. It's time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager. I was just going to make sure you remembered your name. I didn't know how far.
I did. I just got distracted about all that. I'm looking at all the Liberty stuff down below that we have in the queue.
You know, I said to Jen earlier that if we've done nothing else, what we've done is we've earned the honor and respect of those who truly are the heroes of this country. It is unfortunate, and we see it today. We see it all too common. And we're going to obviously get into the latest misfire on a ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran because of Israel, but not just them. As I've often pointed out, one of the most disturbing trends we've seen, and it's probably been universal throughout history, but it's so blatant now with the people in this particular administration. The ones who are the most gung-ho for endless war are the people who will never fight in it. And it's always the ones who have to fight on behalf of these bastards, if you will, like the Phil Tourneys of the world, and obviously his crew members. You know, not a lot of them are left alive, and obviously we want to do whatever we can to give them as big a platform as possible to get their message out there, especially today.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I want to make sure we have time before they come on to play that introduction.
Sure.
Okay.
So, well, if that, so you want to play the intro first, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it.
Guys, I want to, this is not going to be a segment because our channel will get flagged for it if we do it anyway. So I want to put this out there. I want to be very clear. So when people ask, they ask our channel constantly because they see the name Revolutionary Change. And yet for some reason, because Jen and I happen to be educated people, that somehow we're supposed to deliver every nuance and answer to what do we do? What's the solution? How do we get out from this hellhole that we're stuck in here? We can't lead it. We can help lead it. And we're doing that. But I'm going to introduce you guys to a little lesson in history in terms of how shit actually gets done. It's not a mystery in terms of what it actually takes to create revolutionary change. So I'm going to take you guys back to 1946. This is McMinn County, Tennessee, and the town in question is Athens, Tennessee.
Not too far from where I live right now, actually. Probably about like an hour and a half from where I am right now.
So here's a little history lesson for everybody. On August 1st, 1946, World War II veterans came home to Tennessee expecting freedom and democracy. Instead, they found their town run by a corrupt political machine that rigged elections at gunpoint. So the vets grabbed their rifles and started a rebellion. McMinn County, Tennessee was controlled by a political machine led by Sheriff Paul Cantrell and his deputy, Pat Mansfield. They ruled for a decade through intimidation, voter fraud, and violence. Deputies arrested anyone who questioned them. Ballot boxes disappeared into the county jail. Opposition votes were simply thrown out. The machine skimmed money from every fine, every arrest, every county contract. By 1946, over 3,000 McMinn County men had fought in World War II. They had just defeated fascism in Europe and came home expecting the democracy they'd fought for. Instead, their votes didn't count. Their families were harassed. Deputies arrested them for looking at someone wrong. One vet said, "We fought to preserve democracy, and when we got home, we didn't have it." On August 1st, 1946, veterans ran their own slate of candidates against Cantrell's machine. At the polls, armed deputies showed up to monitor voting. When a black farmer tried to vote, a deputy smashed him in the head with brass knuckles. Tom Gillespie intervened and was shot in the back. Then deputies seized all the ballot boxes at gunpoint and locked them inside the county jail. The veterans held an emergency meeting. They'd seen this playbook before in fascist Europe. Someone said, "We either give up or we fight." They broke into the National Guard armory and grabbed rifles, shotguns, and ammo. By nightfall, 60-plus armed veterans surrounded the county jail where the ballots were being counted. They demanded the ballot boxes be released. The deputies refused. The shooting started around 9 p.m. Veterans fired into the jail. Deputies fired back. The vets threw dynamite at the jail entrance. The explosion blew out windows across town. After 3+ hours of gunfire, the deputies inside ran out of ammunition. Around 3:30 a.m., they surrendered. The veterans opened the ballot boxes and confirmed exactly what they suspected: massive fraud. The machine had lost badly. By dawn, it was over. The corrupt officials fled town. Some never came back. The veteran candidates were sworn in. National Guard troops arrived, but there was nothing left to do. The rebellion had already won. The Battle of Athens became a local legend. The day World War II vets used the Second Amendment to restore democracy in their own town.
That's interesting.
And finally, 60 WWII vets staged an armed rebellion against their own government and won. No one was killed. The corrupt machine was destroyed. Democracy was restored. The Battle of Athens remains the only successful armed rebellion against a local government in modern U.S. history.
That's really interesting. And of course, we're never taught that. And yeah, of course, we're not proponents of violence, but I do think that it's important to acknowledge that what our empire has done has trained a whole bunch of people to go fight evil terrorists. And all I know is that we're the evil terrorists. So you all do with that as you will. You know what I'm saying? Like your oath is to the Constitution. Your oath is to the Constitution. That's a very important thing.
Yeah. One of the reasons why we're very much indebted to the work of our friends, Phil Tourney, Larry Bowen, and anyone else who served as members of the USS Liberty is because throughout history, as we have seen, the United States, particularly after World War II, had a propensity to go and find enemies because, the war machine wants to be fed. There's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of resources to capture. But the moment that we're actually faced with a real enemy, like the state of Israel, we find out exactly who's in charge and why we're not able to get anywhere. And on the home front, we see it as well. So if somebody's wondering, what exactly do you have to do in order to create revolutionary change? Now, we're not telling you what to go out there and do, guys. We're simply showing you an example in history of what it actually took to create revolutionary change. And boy, oh boy, did that change happen. And boy, oh boy, has the United States education system done everything in its capacity to make sure that story never got out.
And this is a very valid point. The problems that our current day police are militarized with weapons of war and a stand up to power result in great bloodshed. Yes, that is true. That's true. And there are things where I haven't been keeping up with. Maybe someone has been keeping up with the warehouse fires and how that campaign is going, because from my understanding, there was nobody that had been injured in any of those. And yet by the last time I looked, there were over 70 something warehouses, oligarch warehouses destroyed, or data centers, or whatever it is. So there are people that are doing what needs to be done, but it isn't going to come from voting.
Well, as we mentioned, today is a special day. Today is the day that we honor our fallen soldiers. And Memorial Day has always been a very important holiday for me in particular. I have often done the Murph Wad as a tribute to Mr. Murphy, who was killed in action in Iraq, as well as so many soldiers yesteryear that put their lives on the line. And this is just another example of, the difference between the military and the military-industrial complex. And for those that have either learned about the story of the USS Liberty or learning about it now for the first time, because again, this is a story that has been kept down deliberately by the powers that be. We are obviously honored this evening to have currently two members, surviving members of this brutal historical moment back during the 6-Day War. It's be June 8th, 1967. Jen, there was an opening clip that we were going to play.
Yeah, so before we bring on our guests, we want to show you guys the trailer. I think it's the trailer or the introduction to a documentary. It's that intro. Yeah.
Do we have to cue it up, or Colin, or which one?
This is Philip F. Tourney. I was a third-class ship fitter aboard the USS Liberty, June 8, 1967.
My name is Larry Floyd Bowen. My rank is CTR2, that's Communications Technician Radioman Second Class.
My name is Mo Schaefer. I was 20 years old when I was on the USS Liberty, and I'm from Buchanan, West Virginia.
So this is a part of the documentary, all the links for the USS Liberty, and we have plenty more AV materials when we bring them on. We should actually have them direct, like what, and then I could put up all the slides. So bring on Phil.
They are surviving members of the USS Liberty. Phil Tourney, Larry Bowen, welcome back to Revolutionary Change.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing? Listen, Jen and Peter, you guys look so young and healthy and ready to go. Thank you. It's my honor to be here with you, and it's for especially on this day.
Yeah.
I mean, it means a lot to us. You know, one of your members reached out to us specifically wanting to set something up for today. So it is our honor. You guys are always welcome here, and it's always what happens after the battle that you find out who really cares for you. And you guys will always have a home here. This is about what America First is supposed to be. You guys put your lives on the line, and there is still justice that you are seeking all these years later. So the floor is yours, however which way you guys would like to take this. Of course, we promote.
Wait, I have an idea though. This is my idea.
Yes.
This is my idea. So, I mean, what is that? How is that for you guys? And I don't care what order you go in terms of the bittersweet. I mean, I can't imagine what that's like on Memorial Day when you still haven't gotten justice, and and people are still being gaslit. Like, what is that? It seems like it would be a real juxtaposition of Memorial Day for you guys in particular.
Let me tell you what I did this Memorial Day. I went out and got a tattoo on this side.
Wow.
About the USS Liberty slaughtered by Israel, June 8, 1967. On the other side, 34 names of my brothers slaughtered that day. They will never be forgotten, especially by myself, Larry Bowen, and other crew members.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. For me, this is really a bittersweet day. We remember our 34 fallen shipmates, and the fact that they made the ultimate sacrifice back on June 8th, 1967. And so it's emotionally, it's very hard for me on Memorial Day to, I mean, we're honoring all of our fallen heroes, men and women who gave their lives to defend our freedoms. And these 34 shipmates of ours were slaughtered. They were murdered, as Phil said. We were doing nothing harmful in the Eastern Mediterranean that day. We were in international waters, and Israel came out in an unprovoked attack and slaughtered, the crew. They just crippled the ship, and we were pretty much defenseless to begin with, because we were an intelligence ship. And what happened that day should have never happened. And then, to make matters worse, our government refused to come to our aid. I mean, when we were under attack, they didn't come to help us. It was 17 or 18 hours later, the next day, before they finally had ships arrive to help, offload our wounded and take care of the seriously wounded, crew members. Remember, 174 were wounded, 34 were killed out of a crew of 294. It was ridiculous. And then to make matters even worse, a couple of days later, Admiral Kidd came on board the ship and told all of us to never speak of it. We couldn't talk amongst ourselves. We couldn't talk to our families. So, most of us suppressed that for years. You were afraid to say anything for fear of being imprisoned or fined or both. It was just, and it's been that way for 59 years. We're coming up on the 59th anniversary of June 8th, 1967. And our government still hasn't acknowledged the crew in any meaningful way. There's been no public recognition. Peter, as you mentioned, they they put a hush up on this. Most of the people that listen to your program probably never heard of the USS Liberty because it was covered up, and it's still being covered up.
I want to ask you gentlemen both a question, because if anybody should be speaking on this, it's the two of you. We are seeing sort of a renaissance moment happening in this country. I am obviously a lot younger than you guys. I'm sure that going back to the late 60s, especially at the dawn of the initial stages of the expansion of the state of Israel, the opinion in the United States when it came to even speaking out against the state was probably considered a non-starter for most. Have you seen any type of an evolution when it comes to the state of Israel in terms of the general consensus from the American people? Because it does seem that, especially today, the growing consensus is we're done with these guys. Like, we want to be done with our conscription to the state of Israel.
You're spot on. And what Israel has done to itself with Gaza, and this war didn't start with Gaza on October 7th. It started in 1948. So it's been an ongoing war and conflict. America didn't have any problems in the Middle East until 1948. And what is progressed on to this very day, with all the wars, all the men sacrificed, and women. I mean, people that love this country, that went to fight for this country, but who were they really fighting for? And it's become very clear through President Donald Trump and his subordinates in the cabinet, in the Congress, in the Senate. Nobody really wants to do anything about it because they're all taking money from AIPAC. They're taking money from AIPAC, the ADL, and great amounts. And, I see this as looking back at this 20-year-old kid and what we went through, and then growing up to find out what I really didn't want to really know. And is our country is controlled by the Zionist state. That's why we're almost in another fighting war with Iran. I pray to God that doesn't happen. But for us, civilians and veterans, this Memorial Day should be remembered as a referendum against the Zionist state of Israel, from going back longer than we can even talk about. I know that I'm rambling on here a little bit, but it's just exactly the way I feel. There's no two human beings on this world right now I know that love our country any more than Larry Bowen and myself. Larry Bowen was a very distinguished E8 or E7 before he became a officer, a very distinguished officer. You know, I mean, he made it up to what was it?
CWO3.
Yes. Okay, I thought it was. I didn't know for sure, but that's kind of my story, the way I believe, and it's nothing. Hey, listen, man, the USS Liberty veterans got thrown under this war that they put upon us, and our government let them get by with it. They almost murdered us all, but by the grace of God, we survived. And you guys are talking about young people. The young people are going to win because they smartened up. They finally smartened up and saw it. Gaza, Lebanon, and all the rest. And we're going to be in Florida at the James Fishback event. My friend Larry and I are both going to speak in front of a huge audience. And all we want is the truth. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm anti-Semitic because I'm telling the truth. Because we had Jewish stars of David all over that ship, hoping Israel would win. But we had no idea our country and Israel would stab us in the back and hope we sunk, starting World War III and starting a nuclear war, by the way. So with that, I would like Larry to chime in. I really would, if you don't mind. And your thoughts, Larry, on my rambling on.
Well, I was going to say, Peter, the Generation Z group, the younger folks, have awakened to what's going on over in the Middle East. They've been very supportive of the USS Liberty Veterans Association. They recognize that what's happening with our government and the control that the Zionist, Israeli faction has over our government is not what the United States is all about. We're a democracy, and we need to get away from this other nation that seems to be directing a lot of what happens in Congress. It's just, I was appalled when I read the fact that our congressmen and senators actually have AIPAC representatives in their offices to, to help them
I saw it.
filter through anything that's coming across their desk. If it's, detrimental to Israel, it gets scrubbed. They don't do anything about it. It's just, how can that be?
Jen and I were on Capitol Hill about a month and a half ago, and when we were there, you notice a lot of things. I will say this, and I am somewhat biased about this. There was only one congressman that I wanted to meet while I was there, and I got to meet him, and that, of course, is Thomas Massie. We had a nice little chat for a couple minutes. He was willing to give me his time, even though he was going into a meeting. And the thing that I took away from walking in those halls was simply this. The strategy that some people want to employ in terms of how they think they're going to make change doesn't hold water. There are ways to do it, but the way that they're going about it is not going to work. And then the other thing that I noticed is that they really had the tiny hats running around Capitol Hill, and I'm talking like in the dozens. Like they're there all day, every day, harassing the hell out of every one of these federal representatives. You better be on board with Israel, better get on board, might have that money, go somewhere else. But what I think we can take away from what just happened to Congressman Massie is that their level of desperation to feel that they have to spend that exorbitant amount of money in order to remove one federal legislator who is working against their efforts shows that their position is untenable at this point. If people truly were on board with this cause, then they wouldn't need to spend $30 million in Eastern Kentucky on a federal race for Congress. I mean, that's crazy, but then again, we are seeing substantially significant cracks in the armor. And so it is imperative that we continue to share this story about what you guys went through, because there are still millions upon millions of people in this country who are not familiar with it. And even if they are, unless you've served in combat, most people will truly not understand what this is all about, especially if you're being fired upon by somebody who you thought was supposed to be your ally. We all know they're not our ally. That's a whole other story. But to even be in that situation, to me, is always something that really cuts at my core. And more than anything else, which I'm sure, again, I wasn't a soldier, and I know there was an opportunity where I could have been. But point is, you guys lived through this, and I can't even imagine. I mean, you think I'm pissed off when I see the Mark Levins and the Cory Bookers of the world say, no, we have to go to war. We need more war. I can't imagine how you guys feel about individuals who have never served our country saying that more innocent men, women, and children have to die for their political and ideological cause. I can't even imagine, but would love to get your guys' thoughts on it.
Well, I can say before I got aboard the Liberty, I did 2 cruises to Vietnam on an ammunition ship. And when I came back from that, everybody was against the war, and I couldn't figure out why, because when we joined the service, we took that pledge, and we thought we were right, but we were wrong. I mean, the Vietnam War was wrong, and it was set up by a false flag, in the Tonkin with the USS Maddox and Turner Joy. So it's all been manufactured, these wars, for the greater good of the bankers and the people that own the banks, the people that own the media, and the talking heads in Congress, like Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie and Candace Owens should run for president, either one of them, and that'd be my hope. But I'd love to see that. But America is America. We're all strong, and I think that we have a way of getting it back by voting, not by revolt, but revolting at the ballot box.
The problem that we've seen, and this is something that Jen and I debate constantly, is does it actually make a difference if we vote or if we get to the ballot box? I think, unfortunately, one of the big problems we have in this country is a lot of citizens are just simply disillusioned with the idea of voting. I think they are just completely disillusioned. I mean, back in the 60s, you had 70-80% of the population that was eligible to vote voting. Today, you're lucky if you get 50%. And I would say that civic engagement is a necessity. And I often say that voting does matter, but it's not what's going to create the change. I do think that people need to be voting, but at the same time, recognizing that there's much more to it than that. I would imagine you guys would agree.
Yeah, I'm only one vote, but I want it to count. I want to have some say in who our leaders are going to be. I'd like to think that if I've got something that needs to be supported, that I've got a congressman or a congresswoman or a senator that I can, talk to, and it's happened. I mean, I'm here in Maryland in the 3rd district, and my congresswoman, Sarah Efford, has been very receptive to my emails. I mean, she's definitely looking out for her constituents and for the military. I've brought up some things that I would like to see her support, and I know that she's doing that. But that doesn't happen if we, American public don't get in touch with our representatives and ask them to do something. We can't sit back and wish that they would do something, but we have to remind them of, who we are and what we would like to see. And hopefully they'll listen. I've been very impressed. When I was in a different district, I had Dutch Ruppersberger was my congressman. And I went down to Washington, living here in Maryland. It was pretty easy for me to get down there. And I talked with him. I actually wasn't one of his representatives. It was Dutch himself. So it's up to us as the American public to contact our representatives and get them engaged in what's going on. Give them our views and let them, respond. Phil and I've written letters to the president. We've written to the Secretary of the Navy. We've written to congressmen and congresswomen, and we get form letters back, basically saying, yeah, we received your letter, and we support our military. They don't even address the topics that we bring up, because we're still trying to get recognition for our 34 fallen heroes, and
Yes.
it's falling on deaf ears.
Well, because on one hand, what they said is true. They do care about the military. They just don't care about the veterans once they've done their service. So I think those are very different things. I think that our Congress is completely compromised. And yeah, there might be one or two people in there, like your Thomas Massie, that aren't owned by somebody, but it isn't significant enough to have an impact on the oligarchy that has taken over every branch of government. And I am not hopeful about the electoral politics of this. And I am just so beyond enraged that I just keep hoping more and more people get angry, and hopefully it is people that are armed, because I'm not armed. But we have representation that doesn't exist. There is no representation. We pay taxes, but we don't have representation.
And that's part of the reason why libertarianism is growing in great strength in this country, because the whole concept of libertarianism is taxation without representation. And you want to talk about living in a country today where you are taxed and you are not represented, period. Not even a little bit. They don't even pretend anymore. And that's where I think this sort of revolutionary situation is starting to garner some serious momentum. And if there is anything that we should be getting revolutionary about, it's about our fallen service members, and especially those that died in vain. And we have to rectify that. And that, to me, I think is a huge part of what you guys are working on. So, Jen, do we want to play?
Well, we have some stuff to talk about, but I wanted to also say something when we talk about 34 sailors that died on that day. And I know that back in those days, the concepts of PTSD and mental illness and those types of things weren't as discussed and weren't handled in the same way they are now. But I would venture to say that attack claimed a lot more of your crewmates than the 34 that died on that day, because it's something, it's just, it doesn't go away when you're disregarded like that. So, I can't even fathom. So I just think that it's more than the people that died that day. Quite honestly, it's all of you. But how many people from that day didn't really make it back in the real world because of this?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, it's affected many, many lives. Who they are, what they went in the military for, and what it's done to them. And I know, many of them. A friend of ours, a great friend, Ron Kugel, he was our chaplain, 85 years old. and killed himself over the USS Liberty. And he's the chaplain. And, I found it hard to believe, but I can understand if that's really what happened. He was very vocal. But he's gone.
So it might not have been what they said it was.
Well, when you shoot yourself 2 times, committing suicide, I have a few. Yeah, absolutely. Once in the stomach and once in the head.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the way I feel. I mean, if he did it, he did it. But I always have a caution. I'm always cautious about everything. It's, the USS Liberty crew have done nothing wrong to the world except help save it. Our ship, if it sunk, World War III was on the way on the side of Israel to annihilate with nuclear weapons Cairo and the other states around it that wanted to screw with the U.S. or Israel, because that was the plan. It was a false flag. Sink us fast, blame it on the Egyptians. That's why they recalled the aircraft. Our own government left it. We were sacrificial lambs, and we didn't know it even before we left port. This attack was pre-planned probably for a year to slaughter us all. And that we're alive today to tell you that that's bullshit.
I wonder how much of that, I think of what happened to you guys is it happens because for every rat you see, there's 50 you don't. Yeah. So it really does make me wonder, a lot of these things where we're sending, they know what's going on. I think that these carriers that are being sent over there to West Asia right now are being held. They're going to be sold out to dry. Nobody's going to be able to come and help them. We don't even have any functioning bases there anymore, but yet we're willing to send these people there. I don't understand.
Gentlemen, if there is something that I think you can speak on well, because you alluded to, Phil, that you are coming to the state to speak at one of James Fishback's events. So I'm sure you guys are both familiar with Jay Collins, who is an Army Green Beret. But as we've seen with certain members of the military, particularly in the state of Florida, not just Jay Collins, obviously the worst of them, of course, is Brian Mast. There is really something to be said for those that put on the uniform and either forget why they were serving in the first place. They harbor a lot of anger and resentment towards the populace, either because they didn't serve themselves or whatever the reasoning may be. But Jay Collins, who was also running for governor of Florida, had an incident the other day here, and I'm sure you guys have heard about this. And to me, seeing an Army veteran act this way in defense of Israel really says a lot as far as I'm concerned.
Collins, how you doing? Do you have any regrets or remorse for what you said to that 17-year-old kid and you're a little aggressive to him?
Yeah, no. So, no, I don't, and here's why.
Okay.
I almost died for our nation. I buried friends. If we don't start teaching these young men and women that a sociopath
What's that got to do with the
Let me finish
question?
what I'm saying.
You don't
I'm
have to
tell
talk
you.
to me like I'm a kid.
I'm going to tell you. Let me finish.
Okay, you go ahead and finish.
If we don't start teaching kids, there is a responsibility to step up. That there's a responsibility to protect. A responsibility to do the right thing. He has to hear that.
Dude, he had a genuine question, though. Don't you think he just asked an honest question about Israel funding?
No,
and you came over and were like, sit down. No. You were like very, dude, it was a little aggressive.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was actually.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, that was wrong, and so is all the money we send to Israel. And you'll never win an Israel First campaign in Florida.
Yeah, I'm not running Israel first. I'm running in America first.
How come the governor hasn't endorsed you?
Well, who did he handpick? Did he handpick?
Has he spoke about you publicly in 9 months?
He has.
He has?
You should go watch.
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, you'll know.
I hope you make great choices.
America first, America only. You can take your Israel first stuff, and you can just be done.
God bless you.
You don't have to put your hands on me.
We protect your freedom.
Have a good day, sir. You can act real tough, but it doesn't work, bud.
Wow.
That guy does not have the temperament to be an elected dog catcher, much less be an elected governor of the state of Florida. But that's a whole other story. you cannot support Israel and say you're America first. It's that simple.
Yeah.
No, how could you? I mean, America first is America, and we've been supporting Israel forever. They bankrupt us, fighting their wars with our soldiers and sailors and Marines dying over the greater good of Israel. And it's people like Iraq. Look what George Bush did. Weapons of mass destruction, and he was told that by guess who? The Zionist state of Israel. 9/11. I'm speaking as Phil Tourney, a survivor. I'm not speaking for the crew, but my thoughts and what I've learned and what I've studied, the people I've been around, the only conclusion I can come to is we're screwed. And if we don't get out of it now, we are really dumb. So, I mean, America sees it. Europe sees it. The world sees it. And we've got ourselves in a corner in this damn deal with the Strait of Hormuz that could get many, many other people killed, including American citizens that have no right to be there, but they will fight for their country and die for their country, just as our shipmates did. Betrayed by our own government in the most vile, vicious way you could ever be betrayed. We get raped every day over and over and over again every time we hear about Israel first. What about the 34 men I've got in my arm right now? They gave their lives for. They're young guys, man. These are our people. Eisenberg, please tell them about Eisenberg. Larry?
Is that one of the slides we have? Well, that's what I was going to ask you guys. We have some slides, and I wasn't sure if there were particular people that you wanted to talk about that we were forward. Is that one of these? Let me add it. So if I mean, are these people that well, I mean, these are you guys, but then do you want to tell us about these people, like go through these slides?
Well, yeah, we can talk about, the captain and the fact that he got the Congressional Medal of Honor for helping keep the ship afloat and keeping all of us focused on what our duties were to save the ship and to help our fellow sailors as best we could, because there wasn't anyone else coming to our aid. He stayed on the bridge. He was manning the helm, up there, making sure that, we were steering out of harm's way the best we could. And absolutely deserved the Medal of Honor, as did several other members of our crew. They didn't receive it, but even the captain, when he received his Medal of Honor, because it was going to be an embarrassment to Israel, he didn't receive his Medal of Honor at the White House like everyone else during the Vietnam era.
Right.
They all received their medals from the president at the White House. Captain McGonigal got his in Washington Navy shipyard by an admiral, but not by the president. It was just another slap in the face, to the skipper of the most decorated Navy ship for a single event in Navy history. With all the awards that were bestowed upon the crew, still we're not talking about it.
All right, let's see. There's your Admiral.
Yep, there's Admiral Moore. Phil, you want to talk about Admiral Moore?
Yeah, tell us.
Oh boy, can I tell you about Admiral Moore? What a great human being, what a great admiral, and what a great friend. we were very fortunate. I was president then of the LVA at the Army Navy Club to present Admiral Thomas Moore with the first USS Liberty Annual Award. And Admiral Moore was very, very, very highly decorated. I mean, everything you could get except the Medal of Honor. And when we presented it to him at the Army Navy Club, he said, "That's the best award I've ever received above any medal was from the crew of the USS Liberty." So that tells you a lot about patriotism and devotion to duty. He put his career on the line for sticking up for us, as other admirals did. Admiral Starring, he was a JAG officer. He put his line on the career. And he became the Judge Advocate General of the United States Navy. And he was the JAG officer taken off the USS Liberty case by Ward Boston at orders of Admiral McCain to find the attack was a mistaken identity, which Admiral Moore never agreed with and went to his dying breath saying the very same thing. But to get back to the crew, and there's so many great people and so many honorable people. There's one of them, Ernie Gallo, and but what I saw on deck, people dying, and thank you for putting up my book.
Oh, I could put it back. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon or.
All your links are in our description and everything, guys.
Okay,
all this
good,
stuff.
good.
Yeah, we'll promote.
Yeah, but getting back to the crew that were sacrificed, these CTs that came back with the ship, skeleton crew, by the way, and docked in Malta, they would only let the CTs get inside the security spaces. And the CTs worked harder than anybody to retrieve their own shipmates that had been in salt water for 7 days, and it stunk like it was death throughout the ship. But these guys went down there every day and every day and every day and every day and cleaned it and picked up body parts. It's horrific for them to do, but they did it. And I have great respect for them, all of them. My deepest respect.
We have a couple of clips.
I am not entirely sure what there is that we were going to show. Well, I thought that was the intro thing. Is this?
No, there was a couple of more actually.
Is that this?
Yep.
That's what the world really doesn't know today, and I think that's why we were sworn to secrecy, is how close we really came to a potential nuclear holocaust.
You know how much press the nuclear warheads got when they landed in Cuba?
The step toward world thermonuclear war.
Well, this was 1,000 times worse, but nobody knows about it.
Another victim was the United States naval vessel Liberty. She was mistaken for an Egyptian vessel, and Israeli ships and planes torpedoed and strafed her.
The story of the Liberty is not a whodunit, it's a whodunit.
The casualties were high, 34 American dead and 75 wounded. There were arguments later about how the error happened.
The reality of what happened is it was not a mistake, and they wanted to sink us, and what does that mean to this country?
Case closed, mistaken identity. We're very sorry. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Well, there's no question. It was a big cover-up from the top on down.
What did we do wrong? Why are we being labeled the bad guys and we can't talk about it?
For the next 40 plus years, I never said anything to anyone.
No. Never.
I knew it would be the end of my career if I said anything. In the Naval Security Group, everything was secret. So just one additional secret you had to keep.
You just couldn't talk about it. It was such a secret, and with our lives threatened, and who knows if they were monitoring us or doing whatever.
You ever repeat one word about the USS Liberty and who did it to you, I'll guarantee I'll see you in Leavenworth or worse. You know what worse means?
Then you're told by the President of the United States, Secretary of Defense, to keep your mouth shut, don't say anything, and that's a direct order.
Israel had America by the scruff of the neck. Such was the need to cover up what America had got up to during the Six-Day War.
His girlfriend from the Mossad told him that he could raise all kinds of money to continue the Vietnam War.
He had been contacted.
And there it is. What is it about these men that get involved with these women? They don't think straight. And then the next thing you know, you have a Mossad agent you're sleeping with telling you, hey, want to get reelected for president? Want to make sure you keep winning? We got lots of money to give you. All you got to do is just let us continue doing the war effort. You know, don't ask any questions. It's a tale as old as time. I have not seen this before, but we've all seen this before.
Told him that he could raise all kinds of money to continue the Vietnam War.
He had been contacted by a man with a hoarse voice who said that he'd been a pilot. He attacked at Liberty, and suddenly he disappears. There's no record. You can only suspect that it was as he feared. They deported him, they turned him over to the Israelis, took him back to Israel, court-martialed in secret, and maybe have executed him.
The Liberty is a microcosm of this much bigger problem in the Middle East. And Americans need to know what happened. The story has to be told.
And so that we were under attack by unknown jet aircraft.
They say get over it. You don't get over something like this. It haunts you.
The men would bring the body pieces up to me, and I tried to put them together to make a body out of them.
I don't know what the hell happened, and I haven't taken time to find out. I know nothing about it.
What I'm about to tell you is for your ears only. You are not to tell anyone during my lifetime.
I'm surprised I can even talk about that.
It was sad. That type of horror, your body is not going to remember. Your brain's not going to record it.
I think we sacrificed a lot of people for no good reason.
I am not saying anything about the Liberty, period.
Are you, McNamara? Are you? You don't say shit, just like you covered up Jack's assassination and Bobby's assassination and
There's
Martin
another
Luther King's
clip.
assassination.
We have
and
another.
the USS Liberty. Covered it all up.
Let's see what this is.
Not our greatest ally, they are our worst deadly enemy. And what I would like to do now is to read the names of the 34 American servicemen who were murdered by Israel on board the USS Liberty in 1967. So William Allenbough, Philip McArmstrong, Gary Blanchard, Alan Blue, Francis Brown, Ronnie Campbell, Jerry Converse, Robert Eisenberg, Jerry Goss, Curtis Graves, Lawrence Hayden, Warren Hersey, Alan Higgins, Carl Hoar, Richard Keene, James Lanau, Raymond Lynn, James Lupton, Dwayne Margraf, David Marlborough, Anthony Mendel, Carl Nygren, James Pierce, Jack Rapar, Edward Raymeyer, David Skolak, John Smith, Melvin Smith, John Spicker, Alexander Thompson, Thomas Thornton, Philip Teitke, Stephen S. Toth, Frederick Walton. The moment of silence, please, for our American heroes who were murdered by the outlaw state of Israel.
Makes me so sad. Like, I have two boys. So I have a 25-year-old and a 20-year-old. So, you know, they look like y'all were like babies. Makes me so sad.
Well, be thankful that there's no longer a draft, because back in '65, I was actually drafted. I got my draft notice and went and took the Army physical. And I had talked to the Navy before that. And they said, yeah, take the Army physical. And when you pass that, just come back. We'll put you in the Navy. But, you know, I mean, since then, I don't remember when they discontinued the draft. But we've had, you know, a very, very strong military presence based on volunteers stepping up and just, you know, doing what they consider to be their duty to protect our country. And that's, you know, I mean, it's heartwarming for me to see, you know, these young folks stepping up and you know, committing for maybe just 4 years, but they're doing what needs to be done to protect our freedoms. And I think that's great. I looking back on my 21-year naval career, I after the Liberty, staying in the service wasn't probably my first choice. I got out in '69 and married my hometown sweetheart. I think you saw her in a picture there when she had come over to Germany to visit me after the Liberty. And you know, we've been married now for, it'll be 57 years in June. So we're hanging in there. But anyway, I stayed in the Navy hoping that I would get some answers. Like Phil mentioned, I became an officer after 15 years, and I was still supporting the National Security Agency. I had a copy of their top secret report in my desk on the USS Liberty, thinking that finally I'm going to be able to see exactly what our government saw. And it was worthless. It was absolutely worthless. The only thing they talked about were the failed communications, the fact that we never got a message telling us to stay 100 nautical miles off the coast. It was just that was the whole purpose of the Navy Court of Inquiry that only lasted 7 days. They weren't worried about culpability. They weren't worried about, you know, the lives that were lost or anything like that. It was just, you know, what are we going to do to correct our failed communication systems? And I mean, for those of us that were abandoned all these years, there's just no justice. There's nothing that we can say that's going to make it any better.
Let me ask you this though. What can we do in terms of, we want to promote, we see there's a store, your book, the documentary, like when people support that and those things, like that, is that anything that goes towards education? It goes towards like getting the word out and making sure people know what happened. And so like, if there's anything you want to particularly like promote, I mean, I'm not sure if that documentary is just something that's available right now that everyone can go watch it.
Which one are you talking about? The
Sacrificing Liberty.
It's available on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's you know, if they Google Sacrificing Liberty, it'll send them to the website where they can actually purchase a copy of the 4 DVDs that's, you know, document the, you know,
okay,
the ship's crew telling the story of what actually happened that day.
Yeah, guys, you can go to the Liberty store. There's a whole Liberty store.
Yep.
And yeah, so guys, definitely go check it out. All the links are in our description for all this stuff. And everybody needs to know this. Everybody needs to know this.
Gentlemen, as we wind down the conversation, what does justice look like to you?
Well, for me, Peter, justice is not a personal thing, not just for the USS Liberty, but for America. Because justice belongs to all of us if we believe in the Constitution and not what's been shoved down our throats. And I will say one thing about what Larry said. Everything he said, I agreed with, except I have an exception with, people going in the military, and I love them for that. But now, and in, I believe it's December, you're automatically going to be registered for the draft. So that tells you the younger people that, these, they're not going in the military, not because they're not patriotic, not because they don't love America, but they don't want to die and lose their limbs for Israel like they've done in so many wars past.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. And, it's been my honor to be with you. It really is, you guys. It just really makes my heart feel warm and respected. And thank you so much for what you do. And it's been my honor to be with all of you, especially my shipmate, Larry. We call him Captain Morgan. And
why is that, Larry? Why do they call you Captain Morgan, Larry?
Well, most sailors, I think, are rum specialists. Captain Morgan is a spiced rum, and I probably have had more than my fair share. So, but Phil's a beer drinker, so when we order, I have to get him 2 or 3 beers just to make up for my one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Phil, it's kind of like cheating a little bit.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking to you two is like speaking to my late grandfather who served under Patton in North Africa. And I have memorabilia. I have so many stories, and I learned so much about life and how to live your life as a military man from him. I try to live the military life as best I can.
You're doing pretty good for someone who's not served, I got to tell you.
I appreciate
You've got the rigid structure down,
Yeah.
and you've got that.
Well, General Patton was the smartest general in the Army, and he died of a crash in his Jeep. I don't believe it.
It was just a coincidence there, Phil. I mean,
don't tell me that. Don't tell me that bullshit.
Just remember, for those who don't know this, and the language has been twisted around quite a bit over the course of history, but for those who don't know, General Patton is actually one of the people who actually spoke out against the state of Israel. He was actually very adamant about that. He even suggested that some of what we fought for in World War II was not fighting on the right side. And what he really meant was we were fighting in the interests of, the Rothschilds of the world, if you will. And then lo and behold, he just magically dies, because there's just nothing coincidental about that. Again, they go to great lengths to keep us quiet. I've gone through stuff. Jen's gone through stuff. We realize that our channel is a marked channel. Most people who watch us know that that's the case. But
I moved to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because you have to be able to live with yourself. And I am proud of the work that we do here, because we get to talk to guys like you who truly made a difference in the best way possible. You served our country honorably, and it is incumbent upon us to ensure that however long you're with us, that there is honor and dignity in what you did and long after you're gone as well. And final thoughts before you go.
Well, we appreciate the fact that you know, Revolutionary Change Organization is allowing us to get the truth out to the American public. The fact that you've done this before and you'll do it again, I'm sure, is that's the way we can communicate. You know, we're trying to get as much information out to the American public that we can, but it's when you're talking with survivors, I mean, we saw it. We were there. And for our government to take the words of the attackers as the gospel and not the words of the crew is just unbelievable. I just can't imagine.
Here, let me show you something, Larry. I'm going to show you something. You might like this. Here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
a rage-o-meter moment for sure.
Yep. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you again for having Phil and I on tonight.
Anytime.
And you know, like I said, we appreciate it, and you're doing a great job. So
we appreciate you both too.
I felt very honored that you were here on Memorial Day and appreciate you very much. And we will continue to talk about the Liberty. And it's infuriating. It is. It's infuriating.
It is infuriating. And hey, listen, you guys are the mantle. You guys have got the stone in your hand to break the wall.
We're working it.
I know you are. And to get criticized for telling the truth, just like we've been ordered not to tell the truth, by our own government that set us up to be murdered and start World War III, all on the side of Israel. If anybody can't take pause and try to understand that, if we sink, millions of lives would have been lost.
Yep.
Only by the grace of Jesus Christ, our Savior, did that not happen. And we need him now more than we ever needed him with what's going on in the Middle East. God bless you all, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Larry. It was great to see you guys.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Right. Good night.
It's never easy, but it has to be.
It's
done.
never easy, but it's brutal.
It is.
It's brutal. It's infuriating. And watching the slideshow of them reading the names of those boys, it's like, and I see people are saying about they're going to have this draft, and Lila, you and I will have to get together and talk about that, because there's no chance in hell that our boys are doing that shit.
Well, it's not even a question.
No chance in hell. There is no chance.
It's not, if you really are trying to provoke a revolution, you're going to get one if you really go through with it. But at this point, you and I are convinced that maybe Trump really isn't going to back off the ledge. Maybe we really are going to go over the ledge. And one of the reasons.
Exactly. And that might be where we go.
Yeah.
Because both of us have boys that age.
So I want to remind people that the thing about Trump, and I'm going to read his statement in a minute, Colin, if you could cue it up. This is never about one person. Trump is always the most obvious individual who's out there. Now, as we've seen over the last, week, we even heard from our, friend of the show, Zach Faust. He was convinced that there was going to be an attack over the weekend, over this holiday weekend, although it's really anything but a holiday, that we were going to preemptively attack Iran again. Now, according to the president of the United States, we're not having an attack. We're having a deal. We're going to make a really great deal. And apparently they were getting really.
Wait a second. Are we going to get into the fact that while he's saying there's a deal, the Iranians are saying, no, there's not. And I am very much more inclined to believe the Iranians. So he could say whatever he wants. I could say the sky is purple. Doesn't make it true. There is no deal with the Iranians. There's no deal. There is not going to be a deal because we are insane.
We are.
That's
But we're
why.
going to show you why we're insane. So everything was looking fairly decent because the primary motivator to making a deal is because Iran gave us a checkmate. The checkmate is economics. The Strait of Hormuz is an economic recession, if not an outright depression here in the United States. And no amount of bombing or assassinating various leaders, oh, they just attacked Iran again. Shocker. You can't win this. And what
it's already over.
Well,
it's
what the people in power that are controlled by Israel are now realizing is that no matter what you do, unless the terms are on Iran's favor, there is no deal. This isn't, well, we'll just show them. Okay, so here is what, according to friends of the show, Jeremy Scahill and Ryan Grimm over at Drop Site News, Trump demands, here's the demand after, and we're going to show you the reactions. I only could pick a couple that made sense, but from the reactions of the Zio-adjacent drifting class, Trump demands Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, Pakistan sign the Abraham Accords.
Demands.
As condition of Iran deal. You know what the Abraham Accords is? This is basically saying Israel gets to do what they want. That's what the deal is.
But here he demands. He demands that.
I'm demanding it. Believe me, I'm demanding.
What's so ridiculous about this, and of course none of our media is covering it, is we have no more bases in West Asia. We have nothing. There's nobody on bases there. It's all gone. Our detection equipment, our radar stuff, gone. So there's no infrastructure in West Asia to support what we think we're going to do or what these people are going to. There's no support infrastructure. There's no way. You don't even have airspace available. So I don't understand how it's sort of like people that it's like you can't lie about being pregnant for very long, right? Like it's one of those things that you're eventually we're going to know. We're going to know, and because there will eventually be a baby, right? So this is that. Like you can keep lying, or what? Or not, or a bomb. But the point is, you can only something that's going to happen is going to happen. So he can keep saying we have a deal with Iran, but yet we're still going to see a major economic depression and major fuel problems because the Strait of Hormuz is still close to us. So he can keep
about this
saying
earlier. If you think you have problems paying for shit now, you have no idea how worse
it hasn't even hit.
It
hasn't hit yet.
Nope.
Right now, it's still speculative, and it's still like people betting and stock market bullshit, and everybody
you could not have picked a better time to go move into the countryside. Like seriously,
let me tell you something. We harvested our first cucumber. It was very exciting, but
President Trump posted on Truth Social Monday, of course, because why not do it on Memorial Day, demanding that all countries involved in Iran negotiations simultaneously sign the Abraham Accords, describing it as a prerequisite for any deal and warning those who refuse would be excluded from the agreement. It should be mandatory that all of these countries, at a minimum, simultaneously sign on to the Abraham Accords.
Mandatory.
Trump warned.
Like from the king of the world.
Excuse me, if they don't, they should not be a part of this deal, and that shows bad intention. Should start with the immediate signing by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and everybody else should follow suit. He also dangled Iran's own potential membership, writing,
"Oh yeah,
if Iran signs its agreement with me, it would be an honor to have them also be part of this unparalleled world coalition."
You know what? I'm gonna do this, and I know I've been accused of things like cultural appropriation. I'm wearing, I like to wear my keffiyeh, whatever. I am gonna say this on behalf of the Iranians. Go get fucked. They don't want to be in your stupid fucking club. They find you repulsive. You are a savage, disgusting, repulsive person that leads a savage, disgusting, repulsive nation. They don't want to be in your club.
So
I will now, of course, get criticized for speaking on behalf of the Iranians, but that's just how I felt I felt called to in that moment.
The Abraham Accords brokered during Trump's first term normalized relations between Israel and the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Kazakhstan. Trump's demand would require the mediating countries to recognize Israel and normalize relations as a condition of ending the Iran war.
We need to stop saying its name. I just refer to it as a genocidal entity, the genocide state.
Well, I do it hawking up my mucus as much as I can. A significant ask, given that Saudi Arabia has publicly conditioned any normalization on a credible and irreversible path to Palestinian statehood, a position shared in various forms by Turkey, Egypt, and others on the list. The demand comes as the U.S. has allowed Israel to continue the daily killing of Palestinians in Gaza for more than 7 months since the October 25th Trump brokered ceasefire, with over 900 Palestinians killed since the agreement was approved by Israel. The U.S. and Israel are also deliberately blocking minimum levels of food, medicine, shelter, fuel, and reconstruction
So
aid.
they say 900, I say 9,000.
At least. President Trump has also removed sanctions on the most violent Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank, where rampant state-backed settler violence to uproot Palestinian families has gone unchecked since the start of his second term. Trump closed his social media post with a warning. It will only be a great deal for all, or no deal at all. See what I did there? Back to the battlefront and shooting, but bigger and stronger than ever before.
Back to the battlefield and the shooting. There is
Why
no
don't you go to the battlefield?
Well, there is no battlefield because we don't have a land game. All we can do is drop bombs. That's all we can do. There is no battlefield. There's no means for our people to go there.
No.
There's no means for us to get resources there. There's no battlefield. All we can do is just blow up a bunch of shit and kill a bunch of people, but we're not going to get anywhere with that.
Colin.
And by the way, every time we bomb them, they're going to go after an energy or a salination plant in one of those little territories that now you're trying to demand get on board with you. They're like minutes away from not being able to have water. And we're not going to be able to help them because we don't have any infrastructure there anymore. So why the fuck would any of those countries at this moment do anything against Iran?
So as Trump was attempting to make some type of a deal that didn't involve Israel having to get everything that it wanted, this is what we had to deal with on the Sunday morning show. So I'm going to show you what the shit libs have to say and what the neocons have to say. So here's Mr. Everybody loves me, Zioscum Cory Booker.
Better than the deal Obama got with Iran?
So we haven't had an official briefing, but this is what I'm seeing that has me so outraged right now, is the president said he went into this to deal with their nuclear program. This does not deal with that. Before he became president the first time, they had no highly enriched uranium. They had sent it out. Now they have it because of him. Number two is...
Where are you getting your intel from, numbnuts? Just like making stuff up as you go? Good God.
Is he criticized roundly that the deal that got rid of their nuclear program, or at least their highly enriched program, involved getting $50 billion for Iran. Well, already the president's balance sheet is letting more than $14 billion go through, that during this conflict, he allowed them to sell oil.
Live over East Coast time,
alone,
baby.
Easing of sanctions on Iran, allowing them to get billions of more. The same deal he criticized, he's already doing worse than. Giving Iran more money, as he has said, will allow them to do things like fuel their terrorist proxies. That's why this war...
Excuse me? Excuse me?
The funny thing is that if Obama was... if I was president of the United States right now, you'd be on my side. You'd be listening to me, Cory. Because I did the same thing.
That's some... This motherfucker.
This is pathetic.
Oh my God. I'm
wrong. He's got us in a situation that's worse than it was before, a more extreme regime. The Strait of Hormuz now is a leveraging point for them. This weak nation has put America in a stalemate, and Donald Trump is being played as a fool.
Yes, but you look so fucking brilliant, Cory. You look brilliant. You're sitting there like the fucking bitch of the white supremacist empire that you represent. That's what you look like. You look like their hoe. You're sitting there and referring to Iran as a terrorist regime. Really?
And this is one of the reasons why when somebody says, who would you prefer to support for president in 2028, Thomas Massie or AOC? It's Thomas Massie, and there's nothing to think about. Either you stand for principle or you don't stand for anything. There is no being quiet about this.
Booker stands for his donors. That's who he stands for.
And the rest just stand for their career. So rather than actually support the president and say, Mr. President, what is it going to take for us to make a deal that doesn't involve us having to deal with Israel? Now, you see, they're not going to say that because they're concerned about their career, concerned about their friends, and who's going to lose their position. At this point, you are aiding and abetting the destruction of this country. You don't have the guts. But if you thought Cory Booker was bad, representing the neo-libs, if you will, the shit libs, if you will, here's the ultimate neocon and what
it won't be, Kenman. She'll never get that far. Not to worry.
Very simple. This regime needs to be defeated. And I'll leave it to the experts to figure out, but there are general things that need to be done. Number one, militarily, there's more that needs to be done. And we kind of stopped about 3/4 of the way through. Economically, that strait needs to be open, so they need to be choked. And there are choke points along there that could literally destroy the Iranian economy even more than it is now. But number three, my view again, is we need to arm the Iranians. To suggest that they rise up with their bare hands again, they've demonstrated they are courageous people, they are strong people. You know, I think about what took place in the founding of the State of Israel when the Israelis, the Jews, were attacked by the Arabs who would not accept the...
That's not what happened, Mark, you piece of shit. And now here's something that I find fascinating. Now here's something Mark and I agree on. I agree that the Iranians should be armed, Mark. I do. But the thing is, they're not going to use it against their own people. Nope. See, that's the thing. You just think that because you're a supremacist and very ignorant. But yeah, by all means, please arm the Iranians.
The partition. And there were a lot of arms, perhaps not enough, but a lot of arms that were secreted into the Jewish forces, the Israeli forces, to fight back. That's a good thing. I served in the Reagan administration when we armed the Mujahideen in the Northern Alliance in Afghanistan.
Did Reagan know about that, or was his brain already gone at that point when you guys were running OPSET the president wasn't aware of? Well, from what I can remember, it was certainly done without my knowledge, and it's still my responsibility.
Hey, somebody do a quick little, Googly and see how many grandchildren does Mark Levin have that are service age?
Oh, please, let's get them all in there.
How many of them he's signing up to go and serve? So,
he's got more to say.
The Contras in Nicaragua and so forth. That was a big part of the Reagan doctrine.
He's admitting that he's a war criminal when he says this. Does he not understand that?
It doesn't matter. Nobody cares anymore about war crimes. That's so last century.
He just admitted that he was part of the Reagan administration backing the Contras in Nicaragua, that he was facilitating that. So
I need to ask my dad if he took this guy's deposition. My dad took a whole bunch of depos back in Miami in the day about the Contras. We knew some shit. But this guy,
I honestly, I didn't actually know that about Levin. I didn't know that he was involved with that shit, but now I do. Like, oh yeah, totally. I totally committed war crimes. War crimes don't have an expiration date. Last I checked. I mean, he could still be prosecuted for that.
All right,
shit.
You know what though? In the realm of current war crimes, he needs to go to the back of the line. Okay,
but he's such a bitch.
Yeah, he is a bitch.
Well, we didn't have to put our troops on the ground, but they're people who want to be liberated and free. And in Iran, they've made it clear multiple times. Those people have put their lives on the line. You got 92 million people. There are about 80 million who feel like they're in a concentration camp with the lights out, the communications killed, and people being executed at record rates. And my view is, why would we not?
Oh, he's talking about Iran. We got to go
I
to
thought he
war
was
with
talking
Iran.
about. I thought he was talking about Zio health.
Help them help themselves as part of a overall comprehensive battle plan. So that's what I've been arguing about here in the United States.
You're an idiot. You're such a fucking tool, Mark.
And yet, for whatever reason, when somebody is seeking when the president is seeking counsel, he's going to Mark Levin, which
All right,
really
and I see what you're saying. I hear you, and I understand exactly what you speak, and that is what we're dealing with. Yes, indeed. People really feel a lot of compensation. Like a lot of compensation is required for these people. It's unfortunate.
But that's when you have to ask yourself, okay, how much more obvious can it be that the president of the United States is seeking counsel from this bastard?
Okay. Well, he listens to Laura Loomer.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to play the clip, but we're going to get to Massie in a minute. So there was a clip from the press briefing that I guess happened, I think, on Friday.
Yeah.
And Loomer is right there in the foreground of the shot in the press corps. And I'm thinking, this is like a clown show. Like, this can't be real anymore. She's just sitting there with her, looking like that with her lips pierced.
Well, no, she doesn't. She looks like that guy from that movie. It's scary. And I don't even know that movie other than what people have shown me.
Kenman, there's a much more important question to be asking here. Not that I'm not a slut shamer under it. You could screw as many people as you want, but I think the more important question about Laura Loomer is who hasn't she slept with that's in a position of power in the Trump administration? That's probably the bigger question.
I don't have any issue with that. Like, that's a consenting adult situation. That's not of my concern. What's of my concern is that she's psychotic. I really believe, seriously, and I'm being very serious, she's not well. She's got something very wrong with her. Now, I don't know if it's a matter of borderline personality disorder. Is she bipolar? I don't know. And I am being completely, I'm not mocking her. I'm not mocking anything. There is something wrong with her. And so part of me feels like, while I would love to beat the shit out of her, part of me feels like it's real. Something's very wrong there. That's not normal. So,
speaking of something that is not normal, and the importance of being able to speak truth to power, because as we're seeing, the president clearly he's got a lot of skeletons, as do a lot of other people. I mean, blackmail has been the order of the day for our State Department, particularly the CIA, for a long time. However, it seems to be on a much even grander scale when it comes to the state of Israel. And when you have people in this country that are using their platform to try to do good, we're now seeing that that we're incarcerating, or we're intimidating first, but now it's looking like we're living in a situation where free speech is not free speech anymore.
Hasn't been in a while.
Hasn't been in a while. You do something that goes against the grain of the establishment, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I want to preface this with, I'm not a fan of Hasan Piker. I actually think there's a lot about him that I find very questionable, despite what some of you may think if you support him. I don't particularly trust him with his dog.
All right, are we going into the Hasan Medea story? Okay, yes. So before we get into this, let me be very clear. We don't need to see all y'all bickering about Hasan and debating him. No. It's completely not the point of the piece. And for anybody who, like me, is a free speech absolutist, it's irrelevant what our positions are about him.
Correct.
And yes, you all know we love Medea, but so, and again, this is who he is is irrelevant. Do not make me come in the chat, y'all. I don't want to see you fighting about stupid Hasan Piker.
Colin, can you pull up the tweet that from Mario Nafal, I think is how you say his name, where the Hasan clip came from in the first place? Because I'm prefacing with, because I want to point something out to you guys. There is something to be said for how people get their feeling, their panties in a bunch, if you will, about whether you like somebody or not. Let me assure you, I don't have to like Hasan Piker to defend his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and to protect his constitutional rights. And so this idea that there is something to be cheered on here, that's what Mario is doing.
Yeah. All right. So a free speech absolutist, for somebody who wants to know what I think of it, is I have no problem with hate speech. I have no problem with any speech. That's the point. It's words. Everybody can say, I think people can think and say whatever they want, unless you are leading to imminent harm to an individual.
Correct.
Right? Like, you can't yell fire in a crowded room. You can't do something to bring people into an immediate harm in the moment. But other than that, I think people should be able to say whatever they want. I think you should be able to walk up and down the street and say, we hate the Jews, fuck the Jews. I don't think it matters. Yes.
How about it?
So that's what a free speech absolute is. I don't care if it's hate speech. I don't care what the speech is.
So this guy, Mario Nawfal, who is a real smug son of a bitch, to say the least, streamer Hasan Piker is in full meltdown mode after the Trump administration dropped a subpoena on him for aiding Cuba. It's BS. They're up my butt. Free my brother. Free me, brother. The tanky who cheered for commies is now crying when the feds come a-knocking. Boy, Mario, you're a...
What is he? Narwhal?
He's got a huge platform. The guy tries, you know what he tries to do, Jen? He tries to act like Mehdi Hasan in a lot of ways.
Okay, so by the way, all of these people, to me, if any of these people that are coming out specifically against Hasan Piker now, and again, I don't know that much about him. I know there's the dog story. We're not going to talk about that. But to me, they're all just establishment blue people. And what they are is they're angry and they're ass hurt that he's not in line with them and that he steers an audience away from them.
Correct.
That's why they don't like.
But this is also the thing. It's like, you don't like Hasan, so you're going to throw him under the bus, even though you know that there is nothing wrong with what he did. You are actually on the side of tyranny rather than on the side of liberty.
Okay, so Lila says he's a right-wing op, but I always am so fast to blame the Dems first. Yeah.
Probably. I would definitely agree
well,
with that.
As people on the left and as somebody on the left, I have had personally infinitely more problems with the liberal / Dems people than I've ever had with the people on the right. So they are so much more, the Democrats are so much more threatened by the people left of them.
Yep.
Because to the Republicans, we're all the same. That's what's so funny. They think we're all the same. To the Republicans, the Democrats are the crazy leftists. I live where they are. I'm telling you, they think all Democrats are the crazy leftists.
Well, the good news is that the true break is coming from Massie, but we'll get to him shortly. So leave it to friend of the show, an actual friend in real life, Medea Benjamin, to explain exactly why she and Hasan Piker have just been subpoenaed by the Trump administration.
The Trump administration is investigating me, Hasan Piker, and others for a trip that Code Pink and other groups organized in March to bring medicines and medical supplies to Cuba's pediatric hospitals. Basically, we want to help save babies. And that, according to Trump, is something that must be investigated, because how dare we want to help the Cuban people? How dare we love the Cuban people? And if indeed the charge is that we love the Cuban people, guilty, because I have loved the Cuban people for decades, ever since Cuban doctors saved my life in a remote village of Africa when I was dying from malaria. I love Cuban art. I love Cuban culture. I love Cuban music. I love salsa dancing. I must admit, I'm not a great fan of Cuban food, but in any case.
Unfortunately for Medea, she does live in Miami half the time, so she's very surrounded by Cuban food. But there's a lot
the problem with Cuban food is that it is very It is very meat intensive, very pork intensive. That is also something that is common in
It
certain
is.
Latin, Central, and Caribbean American cultures. It doesn't help us because we're both, Jen and I are basically both pescatarians. So, eating a Cuban sandwich is definitely.
I used to like, I grew up in South Florida, so I knew where to go get the good Cuban sandwich.
Now,
and I used to definitely like a good Cuban sandwich.
Now, I don't remember where this was in Miami, but I used to go there, and there is a vegan place in Miami that does a vegan Cuban panini. I mean, honest to God, it was really, really good.
You realize that's an oxymoron. That's like juice for Jesus.
It's
That's
only
like
once in a great while that you're going to eat
the
it.
entire premise of the Cuban sandwich is the pork and the ham. That's the whole premise of the Cuban sandwich. It isn't that it gets flattened in a press, because that's just a panini.
Save the pigs. They're intelligent creatures anyway.
Again, I don't eat that anymore. Whatever. I'm just saying.
I want my government to leave the Cuban people alone, not to be strangling them by keeping oil from the island, by sanctions that are so brutal. I want them to stop threatening to invade Cuba. I want them to listen to the global world opinion that every single year at the United Nations overwhelmingly says, lift the blockade. So please, if any government officials are watching, don't investigate us for trying to save Cuban babies. Investigate yourselves for what you're doing to kill Cuban babies and make lives of the Cuban people miserable. Leave Cuba alone.
I love her. So that's why we're not going to get into the whole Hasan thing, because this really isn't even about any of that stuff. So they are basically being charged, if you will. I mean, it's at least being subpoenaed to come and talk to the administration, because they might be in violation of our illegal sanctions on Cuba, which, by the way, sanctions is an act of war. We currently have sanctions on 60-something nations. Our sanctions have killed over 35 million people since 2003. But so Medea and Hasan Piker bringing aid to people that were suffocating because they haven't had gas in months. And the people there are starving and having issues right now because of us. And so, yeah, we can't allow that. But please, by all means, I am so excited for them to talk to Medea. See, they want to give Medea a microphone.
Please.
By all means, you want Medea to come and sit and testify. That woman, you have to pull her away from the microphone. I've seen it happen. She'll stand up and talk, and they will be dragging her ass out. So you want to let Medea talk at a microphone? I think that would be glorious.
Oh man, could you imagine? I mean, like, could you imagine seeing her sitting, in front of the House Select Committee on Military Affairs?
Absolutely.
Let her talk. Get some sound bites. Oh, please.
That's what I'm saying. If it's the White House, even better. All y'all. You want to put a microphone in front of Medea Benjamin? Yeah, that's really threatening her with a good time.
And this is part of the reason why, I don't F with, if you will, Piker, because he would get in that position and he would speak, and he would do it in a way that it is more of a soundbite. Whereas if Medea does it, Medea will be so prepared to basically show how barbaric this country truly is, to make people have to question their own lives. Because she'll be up there and saying, I was in Cuba. I can tell you how you are killing these people. You are doing it because they refuse to bend to the will of whether it's Israel or the corporate state. That is the magic. Yeah.
She would hug you too. Like I as somebody who's been fortunate enough to hug Medea, I can tell you she's extremely lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I truly, listen, if you want to talk about a small but mighty human being who is a true leftist, the best kind of leftist, Medea Benjamin she's a hero to me. I mean, I love her to death. I think she's just
she's 10 feet tall. You know what I mean? Like, her spirit is 10 feet tall.
Correct.
It's just, she's
and this
amazing.
goes to anybody in the chat who identifies as somebody, conservative or politically on the right. Let me tell you, there's lots of allies out there who are willing to work on key issues. Medea is the best of us. Like she
She'll
really
work
is.
with anybody. If you are anti-war, she will work with you on any, like, that's her ish.
And the
So
last thing you're ever going to see from Medea, and what makes her so special, this lady's been fighting the fight since Vietnam. Like that's how much of a legendary activist she really is. This is a person who never gets involved in I'm trying to think of the right word. Trash talking is one way of looking at it, but she doesn't get into the theatrics of politics.
no, she keeps her cool in times talking to these people where I would want to grab them by the neck. Like, I don't know how she stays so calm talking to these people. Even Ben Gavir, like she was starting to get like a little loud with him, but still she kept it together.
Well, Gavir lost his mind with her. Like,
well, because what an easy target. He thought he was gonna like just push her around. Yeah, good luck pushing Medea around. You try that. I've seen 4
let me
people
tell you,
figure her out of
if
a
there's
room.
one thing I'm convinced of with Gavir, can you imagine? You want to talk about skeletons in a closet? Can you imagine the things that Gavir has done over the years that people are probably not aware of?
I think people are aware of it, and I think that they just don't care because they're lawless and rogue, as are we. So there's no justice. Yeah.
So Colin, we're going to do this this is going to be an interesting layered story here, but I want you to pull up that photograph that I sent you earlier. Doesn't have a name, but I want you to pull it up, please.
Yeah, what are we?
So this is Mena.
Who is this baby?
This girl her name is Mena.
Mena.
And as much as it pains me to say this, she was killed earlier today in a bombing by Israel, along with her mother. Just this innocent little kid, and
I just can't.
She was killed. There is
Was this in Lebanon was this in Lebanon or in Gaza or where was this?
No, this was I think this is the West Bank.
West.
And so I can't play the video because it'll make you'll completely lose it. So there is a video of her father seeing her in state, and
I think I saw that come up on my feed today.
She had a cast on because her arm was broken because she had survived another attack. So she had a broken arm. She had a broken arm. Yeah. And I want you all to remember Mena like we remember Henry Jeb. I want you to understand that these are kids. These are young, innocent children that didn't ask for any of this, and they're getting it because we have decided that we're too much of a bunch of cuck pussies to actually stand up to our government and stop this shit. Because at the end of the day, as much as I want us to move into this sort of revolutionary mindset, it's not happening fast enough because these kids are getting killed every day. And as Jen said earlier, you think it's 900? No, it's probably 9,000. And they're bombing relentlessly over and over again. So when you are reminded of the justice that needs to be doled out against this genocidal state, this is our responsibility. We are responsible for this child. This is blood on our hands. We are responsible for this. And while you have the likes of Cory Booker, Mark Levin, and we could go on and on, you know, I constantly think, does it make sense to kind of call out all of these grifting bastards that are constantly talking about, oh, we totally have to go to war. This is such a great idea. And they're getting paid. And all the while, these kids are being murdered. Can you imagine taking money, knowing that taking that money is causing these kids to be mass murdered? I mean, to me, there is no coming back from that. There just isn't. You get everything you have coming to you because you are willing to play along. But when it gets real, it's kind of hard to look away, isn't it, Jen?
You didn't tell me we were doing this, so clearly I'm not prepared.
Well, I apologize for springing it on you, but I thought that It just, I mean, this just happened earlier, and I saw it, and I was like, I saw her picture, and I was like, we got to talk about this. There's no way to ignore this. You can't. And if it hurts to look at it, if it hurts to think about it, good. It should. And don't look away. Because that could be your kid. That could be your sister.
Well, that's the thing that people in this country don't grasp is that is our kid. That is our sister. Well, I'm an only child, but you all know what I mean.
It's like the video that we had that we played for you guys last week that I would not play the clip. I would not play the clip of the Israeli soldier beating that dog. I couldn't play it. No way. But you know what happened.
My understanding is that dog survived.
And as everybody has said that saw that clip, they all universally said the same thing. If you did that to my dog, I'm going to go on you and make it look like John Wick was a saint. And I agree.
But I feel like that about every one of these babies. Like, I'm so angry.
Mm-hmm. And I really, this is when
Eunice. Okay.
And this is why you lose support, Alex. What you have to understand is that the overwhelming majority of women that get abortions is for health purposes. So you guys, if you're trying
to why women, do you want to know the main reason, Alex, why women have abortions? The reason is called none of your fucking business.
That too.
And none of your fucking business reason is the only reason that you need to understand about women having abortions. That's it. So that's the reason. Continue. Don't go there.
And as friend and Muslim of the show says, let God be the judge. If God exists, that is who judges, not anybody else. Unfortunately, evangelism has destroyed our country in a million different ways, which is, no, you are supposed to be the judge, jury, and executioner. No, bullshit. It's not up for you to decide. That's libertarianism.
This little baby.
But this little baby.
This is another example of us. We have failed as a species. We fail. Like, like horrible shit happens. Like, I've known of little kids that have had brain tumors and died. And I've been to kid funerals before because horrible things happen. And when it happens, it's like, but like what we're watching now is it's so intentional that there's never going to be any coming back from that.
Correct.
Like
that's why I can't take her picture down, because I want you all to understand what this represents. You see, the thing about the other clip we just played for you guys the other day from the Ashkenazi Zio prey, I'm the Zio hunter, remember? I only killed 4 Palestinians. Only 4. And they were all children. And gleeful about it.
We're going to go from very sad to a little amusing. We're going to channel our rage, if you will, in the next direction. So pull up whatever your Zio Hunter of the Day story is, my friend.
Well, no, that was the point. I don't actually have one because this is why we do what we do. We do it for people like Mena. That's why we do this. We want all of these people to be exposed. That is the essence of what we do. So when people are looking around saying, I'm Yisrael High, and you're making me feel uncomfortable. Oh, really? Well, guess what? You are going to feel uncomfortable for the rest of your natural fucking life on this planet as long as we have a say in it. You celebrate this stuff. You do. And the fact of the matter is, we can't save the world, but what we can do is get you the fuck off our backs. That we can do. Jen.
Well, Mr. Ed, don't don't even talk right now. Mr. Ed, yeah, I'm going to say this seriously. This is not the right place for you. It just isn't. We're about individual liberties and civil liberties here.
Yeah.
And you are clearly about ownership of women's bodies. Don't give me the bullshit of it's a separate life. So is a bacteria, so is a virus. Should we hold on to those when we get them too? So go away. If it were men that got pregnant, you wouldn't have any problem with them terminating a pregnancy. It's a controlling woman thing. And that is just not what we're about here. That by no means will serve the revolution. The only thing that is going to help this revolution is the rise of this feminine energy. That's where we're at now. Because we've all fucking had it. That's where we're at. And any of y'all that are saying that abortion is the problem, you're like 20 steps behind where we're at now. And I just can't.
And in many ways, Kenman is correct. In many ways, it's just simply anti-woman. That's what the issue is.
Abortion is anti-woman?
The whole issue of being, against.
Okay, that's what you. Okay, Kenman, you scared me for a second.
Yeah.
And you're right. It is. Because again, it's the none of your fucking business. You don't care. My friend Mo, and I know this is like real personal information, spleenless. She's in the land of the spleenless. Sometimes people don't have spleens. But you know what? Nobody was all up in her business about having to have that happen because it's her body. So get the fuck out of people's bodies. Jesus Christ.
Sam, the only circumstance that ever occurs is if the mother might die. This is a known
Nobody chooses
thing.
that. No woman carries a baby for that long and then chooses that. That's fucking crazy.
You guys just gotta. I am begging, and listen, I know we have conservative principles. I understand that, but I'm begging you guys to just have a little common sense. And the other thing that I've always said is the biggest problem with this issue is that it's always the men. It's always the men.
Thank you, Lila. Agreed. Which is what gets back to what I said in the first place. The only reason that should matter to you is that none of your fucking business. See,
and as
that's
I
how
said,
easy it is.
even if I don't agree with that position, I'm still not the one carrying the baby to term, and I believe in libertarian principles. Either you believe in individual liberty or you don't. So make a choice.
That's the path to dehumanizing people? No. Zionism and
What have
dead
you done,
babies.
Jen?
Get me going.
I love you guys, but I'm telling you, it's not an issue that is anywhere near as catastrophic as you're making it out to be. That's the reality. And as I've said before, and
People are so fucking stupid about this. They're so fucking stupid about it.
It's a women's health issue.
It's a women's health issue, and this is, and I am by no means a huge fan of Planned Parenthood. We have our reasons for that.
Sure.
But I used to volunteer with Planned Parenthood years and years ago, and we would go around and give out birth control at women's shelters where people, domestic abuse survivors, and we would go to places and like that. But 3% of Planned Parenthood services, 3% is abortion related. So that's 97% of what they do is women's health services that, of course, are, again, all in the category of none of your fucking business. But the fact that you want to focus on that 3% portion of women's health, in fact, I would suggest that that's probably the percentage of women's health that abortion takes up. That's probably a pretty good reference. Of our lady health, you're focusing on 3% of it. And what's amazing is that 3% and the other 97% are all in the realm of none of your business.
And I've asked,
mind your business.
Okay. And I've asked you guys repeatedly, just remember, if abortion is an issue that you have a difference of opinion on, then move on to an issue that you agree on. One of the hardest lessons that people learn in the political arena is, as is often is the case, people like to fight about stuff that they don't agree on. But what's the point? We are seeing a downward spiral of this nation to a point in which we are facing an actual economic catastrophe, the likes of which you guys really have no clue as to how bad this is going to get. And so I will preface this with, there is a reason why Thomas Massie is somebody that I hold in extremely high regard, because he is somebody who is pro-life. However, he doesn't allow that to dominate the discussion, ever. He understands what is imperative and what must be discussed. So he sat down with Meet the Press yesterday, and here are some of the things that he had to say.
How much they've bamboozled the people here in Kentucky. They used artificial intelligence to create a video, lifelike video, that showed me checking into a hotel room with AOC and Ilhan Omar and holding hands with them. It was actually very effective on the boomers. But here's the thing, Kristen, that's only going to work for a little bit longer. The boomers are going to, leave this.
You mean the boomers are not going to be with us anymore, Tom? Is that what you're
basically saying? He's basically getting to that, yes.
Could you imagine seeing that clip of Massie with Ilhan and AOC thinking that it was real? Like, did
no.
people
Well, I saw the image, and I might have thought it was a real image, but I didn't think it would have looked like checking into a hotel. I would have thought, like, if I saw that and thought it was a real image, to me, what it looked like was they were up at a counter that kind of been at a congressional conference or something. So it didn't look like, I saw the little clip that they're talking about, and it just looked like they could have been standing at a bank. You know what I mean? It was just a counter.
But the fact that they interviewed, there was exit polling where people were interviewed and they said that they thought it was real. I'm like, oh my God. Like, that's unbelievable that they thought it was real.
Well, what I'm saying is that even if I thought it was real, I didn't presume it was them checking into a hotel room. That's my point. Even if I thought
that was the case, I mean, the idea that they looked at that and they thought, oh yeah, look at Massie. He's out there parading with Omar and AOC. Could you?
It just made me like him that he was hanging out with Ilhan and AOC.
Not AOC. That's like you got to take the car keys away. Like, that's a take the car keys away moment. If you can't tell that that's fake, keys got to go. Well, you can get arrested for that in Kentucky. You can screw your cousin in Kentucky, but you can't do that. That's against the law.
This country to the Gen X and the Gen Z and the Gen Y and the millennials, and those folks are the ones that I won overwhelmingly. That makes me really hopeful for this country. They don't get fooled by artificial intelligence, and they check the news. They get news sources like from podcasts and other sources. So they won this race by fooling my voters and expanding the base of people who vote to the uninformed voters. But look, I got 45% of the vote.
That's amazing. It showed them going into a hotel room. I guess I didn't see that part of it. I just saw them like at a debt. Like, I guess I didn't watch the whole thing. Again, I don't think I would, at that point, I just would think it was fake. Like, if I saw it where it looked like they were going into a hotel room, then I would know it was, like, that would be a red flag to me that it wasn't real.
I definitely agree. And the other thing that's important here is that Massie, what is so significant about his announcement that he is officially declaring his candidacy again in 2028?
Yeah.
He is declaring his candidacy for Kentucky's 4th congressional district. However, there's a reason he's doing it. The primary reason, which he indicated on X today, is that it's for fundraising purposes. So he's actively working on Capitol Hill to continue doing what he's doing, but he made very clear in his statement that I haven't made any decision yet in terms of what direction I'm going to go in. So why is that significant? Well, he was asked, what are you planning on doing over the next 7 months while you're still on Capitol Hill as a federally elected representative?
More here. I want to ask about the Epstein files. As you've noted, the speech and debate clause actually protects you from being prosecuted for whatever you say on the floor of the House. You have named names in the Epstein files in the past. Can we expect you to name more names in the coming weeks and months?
Yes. Todd Blanche is violating the law. There's still millions of files they haven't released. We know from talking to the victims' lawyers that their own 302 forms haven't been released. We know that file.
Massie is Gen X, just like me. Massie's 55, same age as me. We're not boomers, okay? He's gray. He's got the Heisenberg silver fox thing going on. Not a boomer, Gen X. Don't be fooled.
Have been over.
Sorry.
I also wanted to say, you know, the thing about, and this is why we love Phil Tourney and Larry Bowen, and you know, when they say, hey, you know, that whole thing about how Patton died, yeah, don't look too much into that. Same thing with Massie's widow.
You mean no, he's the widower, and
No, he's the widower. His first wife. His first wife. Yeah,
Right.
don't look too deep into that one either, right? Yeah, because there's nothing to see there. Yes, there is.
Redacted. I have released at least 3 names of billionaires who are implicated in this. I don't think it's possible to get to convictions with Todd Blanche at the top and with the FBI director, Kash Patel, at the top, because they've effectively both perjured themselves by saying that there's nobody else in the files.
Do you understand what type of balls it takes to make that statement on national television? He's calling the head of the FBI a liar to his face. That's
Wait,
a big.
he said he called Kash Patel a liar?
Listen.
FBI director Kash Patel at the top, because they've effectively both perjured themselves by saying that there's nobody else in the files. Even Melania doesn't believe that. The First Lady knows that Jeffrey Epstein didn't act alone. And here's
Ooh.
You opened up
He's
a can of
Melania.
Listen, but I got to tell you right now, if I were him, if there ever was a time where he needs security, this is it. Now, I know he's not one to be intimidated, but I'm telling you.
Massie?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
For him to be able to get onto the congressional House floor and start doing this, I mean, he has thrown down the gauntlet by what he just said.
Oh, he called out Melania. He called out Trump's wife.
He's referencing when Melania went up there and made that speech. And the only reason that Melania, I mean, you even said there's a reason Melania felt the need to do that press conference.
Well, I don't know that she did or they told her to do it, because she definitely looked like she was like reading it against her will to some extent. She looks horrible. Like, she sounded horrible. And I know her English is better than that. But regardless, not only did he call her out, but he called her Melania. Like, by first name, no respect whatsoever, just called her out. That's the right there. That is like the fuck you to the president. That's what that is. Okay. That gets Massie some of this right here. That gets that. Because he just called out the First Lady by first name and basically implicated her in something she just denied. Right there. It was glorious.
The grassroots energy is 1,000% with Massie. And if he leads the America First movement, he is going to do a hell of a job with it. And this is the thing that I really think AOC in particular overplayed her hand. Yeah. She really thought that she was going to be able to garner the populist energy in this country for a presidential run while playing footsies with the corporate establishment. What she is failing to recognize is that if Massie goes for it, all the populist energy is going to get behind him. No matter what anybody says, no matter how hard Alex tries, she is already seen as somebody who is willing to cave. Massie has proven beyond any shadow of a doubt that he is not going to cave. He's willing to martyr himself for the cause of saving this republic. And that to me is, it's revolutionary stuff.
I just think it's great that he called her out like that. That's awesome.
He's got serious balls. We'll finish it out.
It's a great thing, Kristen. Whether I'm in Congress or not, the Epstein Files Transparency Act is a law, and it goes on for years. So if we can't get this Attorney General and this FBI Director to do the right thing, the next ones who take those seats are obligated by law to release the files that these individuals are not releasing now.
Nice. Can I want to address a troll for a second. Space Orbisons, free speech absolute is my ass on this channel. Okay, so I will defend your right to not have the federal government impose itself on you regardless of what you say. That doesn't mean I can invite you into my channel and have you be an asshole, right? So like, I'll defend your right to say whatever it is, but that doesn't mean I'm inviting you into my house if I think you're a bigot or an asshole. That's the difference. This isn't about that. I do believe in free speech.
I am going to show you guys a prime example of why revolution, and if it's through Massie, so be it, but it is an America First movement. I want to show you guys a little story that I wanted to play last week, didn't get a chance to. You want to talk about the level of desperation that people get to when it comes to our broken system, particularly when it comes to our health? Listen to this.
This is a bank robbery. Please only give me $1.
James Richard Verone was charged with robbing the RBC Bank in North Carolina just so he could get free health care in jail.
I started to walk away from the teller, and then I walked back and I said, I'll be sitting right over here on the chair waiting for the police.
He came to the bank because he was unemployed with health problems and no insurance.
It's called manipulation. Then out of necessity, because I need medical care, then I guess I am manipulating.
Could you imagine being so economically desperate that you think the only way to save yourself because you have a health problem is to rob a bank for $1, get arrested, get convicted, and go to prison so that you can get universal health care? Did you know that prison inmates get universal health care?
It's not exactly good, but
didn't say it was good. But yes, you get health care.
Scary, actually, but yes, I understand.
That's pretty fucking desperate if you ask me.
Yeah.
The courts to get medical care.
He believes prison is the best place for that and hopes he's sentenced to 3 years so he can continue to get free health care.
First time I've ever been in trouble with the law. So it's not, it was, I'm sort of a logical person, and that was my logic. That's what I came up with.
This is sick. This is some sick
dystopian level shit.
Fucking Hunger Games shit. It's just crazy.
How much longer are we going to look around and act like this is okay?
Well, I am not okay.
No. We're definitely
not. I'm not okay.
So here's why, as much as any other reason, we need to come to this realization that the system is broken. And the last little clip I'm going to play you guys is from a TEDx regarding a healthcare CEO. This is in dental, but another one. Probably didn't know about this one. Delta Dental. Learn.
I am familiar with Delta
considered a nonprofit, and as such, you can view their taxes online. So I got curious. In their 2014 filing, the IRS requests for the organization's top accomplishments. Delta Dental reported that over 95% of claims, electronic, online, and paper, were processed without any manual intervention. That means when your care is denied, there is less than 1 in 10 chance a human reviewed it. Less than 1 in 10. And they're proud of this. That same year, Delta dished out up to a 30% pay cut on the care that doctors deliver. And for a decade, they did not raise what they pay for your dental care by a single penny. Meanwhile, their CEO's salary skyrocketed. She went from $4.5 to $15 million a year. From 2014 to 2018, she made off with almost $48 million before leaving her position. That's $1 million a month. Must be nice. And
It is if you're a criminal. Now, this is just somebody cheating you so that they can become a multimillionaire. Imagine the scale that you have to go to in order to become a multi-billionaire. And we live in a country where far too many people want to be envious of those that have money and power, which to me is extremely disturbing.
Well, what part of it? It's disturbing to me that there's people that have so much fucking money and power.
Yeah.
That's more disturbing to me. It's disturbing to me that there's billionaires. Why? Why do we need that? Honestly, I think if you get up to 999,999,000 and then you get the dollar, I think that you should get like a gold sticker and then go back to zero. It's like, what the fuck? It's the most vapid, soulless. I just don't get it.
There's also something to be said for how the money is made.
None of it's legitimate. Not one of them's legitimate. Not one of them. There is not a single legitimate person that has $1 billion. Nobody earns $1 billion. That's absurd. Nobody earns that. They're not worth more money. They didn't work harder. That is the dumbest fucking thing ever. You steal $1 billion.
Pretty much.
Okay? You don't earn $1 billion.
And this is the whole thing about everybody blames Reagan for the reduction of the top marginal tax rate from 72% down to 28%. And he definitely deserves the blame. However, it has been over 40 friggin' years since our top marginal tax rate was 72%. And nobody, since it was so Reagan put it at 28 and then it ended at 39. And that's basically where it's been ever since.
And most definitely even Oprah Winfrey.
Oh my God. When you dig
because
into Oprah
if I were to do a beautiful mind diagram of all the shit going on in the world right now, she's one of the people that would just somehow be crossed over in the middle in a whole bunch of ways. And no, as much as she earned her money, let me tell you, she is self-made, and I respect that. She is. I know that her history. Nobody gave her that. I get it. Okay, nobody earns $1 billion. It's whether you're cheating. The law is cheating for you, even if you do it legally. That's absurd. You're not. That is not normal.
Yeah, I would agree. And so we're going to have a little fun wrapping up this evening. I'm a sports guy. Jen is a sports gal.
It depends on the sport. What's the sport?
Well, definitely not, definitely not violent sport, although football is violent. So I shouldn't even say that.
And as I get older, it's getting harder and harder for me to tolerate it.
So it turns out that this moment with Floyd Money Mayweather was actually from 6 months ago. I thought
I'm pretty against the whole boxing thing in general. Like, it's just not I am not. No. Look, again, consenting adults, you guys do you. For me personally, I get absolutely zero satisfaction in watching people beat the shit out of each other. In fact, it fucks me up to no end that there's so many people that enjoy watching it that I just don't even like to know about when it's happening. Because it's just weird to me that people enjoy that shit. But
for those that have always been suspicious of the actions of one Floyd Money Mayweather, again, calls himself Money, and his behavior has always been very questionable as far as I'm concerned. I always felt that he ducked fighters, especially Manny Pacquiao, when he should have fought him 5 years earlier than he did for obvious reasons. But nevertheless, Mayweather has always been somebody who I always look at and see a person who was always willing to sell out for the highest to the highest bidder. And so For those who are aware of the Republican Jewish Congress, I believe is what the organization is called, Jen.
Yeah, I think so.
This was
I
an
didn't
event-
know of this. I mean, obviously there's for every group, there's a group. So, I mean, it
Sure.
doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Well, this is one of the groups that Randy Fine is very prominent in, among other people. And so this was from a holiday event. Jen, you're stealing my thunder here.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
So this is a clip from 6 months ago of Floyd Mayweather. So this is a pretty good setup for what we're about to talk about.
And like I said before, I'm not with you guys 10%, 50%. I will always be the voice for the people in Israel. I will always stand behind the country of Israel.
Really?
The one and only Floyd Money Mayweather in Israel. I will always be here for you guys when you guys don't have a voice.
I agree with this. I agree with that. I do think violent sports creates normalization to stuff. I do. And it's over so many generations. It's not like, obviously, I don't think if somebody sees something, they're going to go out and do that. But I do think that, yeah, what people find as entertaining is an indication of what they're willing to accept, right? I mean, I see the connection for sure.
So I'm going to explain to you guys what it means to be in the club, but that you're not really in the club, because at the end of the day, you're still black and you're not a Jew. You can work with them if
So
you're.
Floyd's basically coming out and tap dancing. He's tap dancing like Bojack for the Jews, for the Zayos, right? But I assure you, when he's not there, they're calling him a Schwarzer. They're calling
Whatever
him
they're calling him, it's definitely
I'm
not
telling
good.
you, that's what they're calling him. They're
Colin,
using.
I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go to that second. Let's go to Floyd first. So, why is this such a big deal? What could it possibly be that we have to cover Floyd Money Mayweather at this time?
Why is that?
Not on his hands and knees for the Zio state.
Oh, good Lord.
Breaking news, Floyd Mayweather scammed out of millions by Israeli business advisor Yonah Reichnitz. Stole over $175 million from Mayweather.
The W is pronounced like a V, but yes. And it's, yeah, it's one, yeah.
Colin, bring it. It's a little small. You could just zoom in a little bit.
And basically any Ashkenazi Jew in this country that says that they didn't hear people saying that, they're lying to you.
Floyd Mayweather has filed a shocking lawsuit against former business advisor Yonah Reichnitz, accusing him of stealing over $175 million through fake investment deals, luxury jewelry loans, real estate scams, and a private jet set. What is it with these fucking guys in their private jets? What makes it even crazier? Just 1 year ago, Mayweather publicly said he trusted Reichnitz 100%. Yeah. Why is that, Jen? Does Mr. Mayweather have some skeletons in his closet that we don't know about?
I mean, something. But it also sounds like he's incredibly stupid.
The lawsuit he has been hit in the head quite a few times. The lawsuit claims millions vanished through shady transactions involving properties, Rolex watches, diamond jewelry, and more. That's Mr. Reichnitz.
I would say Reichnitz, because there's no I, because I know a Reichman. So I would say Reichnitz. Yeah. He's
Yonah Reichnitz was arrested on corruption charges in New York and then became a star witness. So he's a thief and a rat. So he's got both going for him. And he's got a little hat too. So, don't forget that.
Oh, good.
His testimony led to the conviction of several officials. However, what is the important thing here? According to, so Colin, I think there's a couple more slides. Or that's the only one? Okay. So I want to read the column first.
So Floyd mistakenly believed that those were his peeps.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because he stood for them. He was there. He was with Israel, so they must be his peeps.
According to the lawsuit, Reshnitz, a real estate developer with a past bribery conviction, allegedly gained control over Mayweather's financial affairs and secretly siphoned millions through can't see it. Can't see it.
Don't be me. Can you just not be so curt?
I have to be. It's the only way.
No, you don't, Colin. Yes, you can be nicer, Colin.
Financial affairs and secretly siphoned millions through fraudulent transactions. One alleged scheme involved a $7.5 million investment that Mayweather says never existed. Another claims Reshnitz used $100 million worth of Mayweather's jewelry, including Rolex watches, diamond chains, and Jacob & Company pieces as collateral for loans without his knowledge. The lawsuit also accuses Reshnitz of mishandling private jet sales. What do you mean, pocketing the money? Property loans and real estate deals tied to Mayweather's fortune. This is shaping up to be one of the biggest financial scandals in sports history. Yeah, but he's probably already in Tel Aviv, so good luck ever seeing him again. So who is Yona Reshnitz? Who is this Yona Reshnitz that is causing such problems?
You know why I hate that name that this guy's such a piece of shit? Because my dad's nickname for me, he's always called me Schnitz. He's just always called me Schnitz, and he's always spelled it SCHNITZ. Like he'll write it on my birthday cards, like Dear Schnitz or Schnitzy, like he calls me Schnitz. And this really kind of is ruining that for me.
I want to feel bad, but Mayweather is such a scumbag. It's like it's like how you didn't.
He sold out, and then he got sold out.
Yeah,
that's what happened. Well, when you lay down with dogs, Floyd,
get a lot of fleas. He had the worst time. Colin, let's go to the article, please. Businessman eyed in Brooklyn FBI probe is scion of prominent Orthodox family. Of course he is. This is from 2016, ladies and gentlemen. One of the Jewish businessmen at the center of a reported federal corruption investigation rocking New York politics is the scion, so in other words, the Nepo baby of a wealthy and politically connected California Orthodox family, the forward has learned. Yona Reshnitz, the 32-year-old, so he's 40.
Okay, so this article is from 10 years ago. So this is just the background of this guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yona
so
Reshnitz,
he was 32 then. Okay, so he's 42 now. Yeah.
Real estate developer whose face and name have appeared daily in every New York City tabloid, is the cousin of a controversial ultra-Orthodox nursing home magnate who was a major donor to Israeli Prime Minister, well, you know who, Netanyahu Milikowski. Okay, can we just pause for a second?
So wait, this gets even better though. This gets even better. He's the son of a former national finance co-chair of Senator Lindsey Graham's 2016 presidential campaign.
Lindsey Graham's president.
So he's connected in disgusting people on two continents.
This is
in Asia and here.
The other thing you have to remember is that when they say controversial nursing home magnate, what that really means is, since I'm in real estate, that means that they are, as stereotypical as it is, because a lot of Zio Jews are into this shit, they are slumlords. And not only are they slumlords, but they're slumlords for the infirm and the desperate. They are slumlords to the people who basically can't help themselves.
Okay, Peter, anybody who is living in what you would call a slum are people that are desperate and can't help themselves. So
Correct.
a slumlord in general is disgusting, and those people should be put in prison regardless. But yes, going specifically after older people and people that have like some sort of mental incapacitation is particularly disgusting.
Keep scrolling, Colin, please. Yona Reshnitz is under scrutiny for trips, meals, and gifts that he and a Brooklyn-based colleague, Jeremy Reichberg, he has the I.
Well, I told you, that's how I know that's Reichberg. Yeah.
Are suspected of giving to high-ranking New York City Police Department officials. Oh, what do you know? You wonder why the NYPD has such problems and they come after Zoran and have Tish at the top? Well, now you can see why.
And Reichberg have close ties to New York City Mayor, back in de Blasio. All right, so that was then, yeah.
He really goes to show you how Zoran really is a unique individual. 4 members of the NYPD brass have been placed on desk duty in the midst of the probe. Reshnitz's family ties to his well-connected father, Robert Reshnitz, and his wealthy cousin,
you can't make this shit up,
Shlomo Yehuda Reshnitz.
Okay, Yehuda is Reese's middle name in Hebrew.
Places donations to de Blasio in the context of a broader web of political relationships cultivated by members of the Reshnitz family. I wonder if Nomi knows about this story.
You know that they're not together, right?
I know they're not together. I'm just
apparently it was a thing.
That's a political relationship of convenience, if there ever was one.
I don't know. I think she got hurt.
Hey, like
it
you
doesn't
said,
matter. I'm just saying. We don't delve into that stuff here. I feel bad if she did.
That's bad. Well, of course, but I mean, look, I don't wish any ill will, but it's
no.
When you step in shit, understand.
I know. What would one think would happen with that? Like, where did that think that would go? But yeah,
at a 2013 dinner chaired by his father in D.C., Yona Reshnitz introduced a speech by Bill Thompson, then de Blasio's rival in the Democratic mayoral primary, despite eventually backing de Blasio. He is an unbelievably charitable person, said Phil Rosen, a partner at the law firm Wheel, Gottschtl and Magnus, who specializes in real estate law. He is just very motivated to help the Jewish cause.
America First Patriot. Why would I get tarred and feathered for this shit? What the hell did I do? Because I'm Jewish?
The Forward
it's teach your people, help educate the people.
The Forward reported on April 6th that Reichberg had flaunted his ties to de Blasio to exert influence within the NYPD's 66th precinct in the Borough Park neighborhood of Brooklyn. Yes, that is where a lot of Zionists live. A lot of Orthodox Jews who are not Zionists live as well.
That's where the Nutera Carte are.
In 2014, Reichberg hosted a fundraiser at his home attended by de Blasio for the mayor's campaign for One New York, a controversial outside charity. The dinner raised $35K. That's not a lot. In the grand scheme of politics, it's really not. Yet it was Reshnitz who gave more to de Blasio, including $50,000 to the campaign for One New York, as well as the maximum allowable contribution to his mayoral campaign. De Blasio said April 8th that he would return Reshnitz's donations to the campaign. I'm sure he didn't. And his political and social connections go much further than those of Reichberg, who is a member of the insular Hasidic community in Brooklyn. Reshnitz's attorney, Mark Harris, well, they only work with amongst themselves, they really do, did not respond to a request for comment. He told the New York Times that Reshnitz has not broken any laws that you're aware of. Former director of acquisitions at the U.S. subsidiary of Israeli billionaire Lev Leviv's investment firm Africa Israel Ltd. Reshnitz now runs his own real estate firm called JSR Capital.
I'm sure that's on the up and up.
Oh, yeah.
It's 10 years ago. This might not even exist anymore. So, I mean, I think we get the point of this.
He is a graduate of Yeshiva University and a resident of Manhattan's Upper West Side. And last but not least, Reshnitz also appears to be something of a gambler. In 2012, he won $50,000 on a $1,000 bet that the first score of that year's Super Bowl would be a safety. That's the Giants and the Patriots, by the way. 2 years later, he won $25,000 more. He won $25,000 more, making the same bet. He told reporters that he had donated both wins to charity. Reshnitz bet pharmaceutical billionaire Stuart Rohrer $100,000 to the charity of the winner's choice on the result of a Knicks game and won. Okay, so this is, how much more does it have, Colin?
I feel like we get the gist. That's it, right? No, we get the point of this, seriously, because it's a 10-year-old article. So it's kind of, we don't need to be reading that whole thing.
But what you're seeing here is that when you feel that you can't be touched, you do this shit. This is a guy who was federally prosecuted and convicted. Now you're telling me that nobody in Mayweather's circle knew about this? All right, that's good. I mean, come on, that's good.
For you, I knew you would like it. It's right up your alley.
That's my kind of humor. I like that.
I know it is. Exactly. I know.
You're telling me that there wasn't one person in Mayweather's orbit that couldn't tell him, yeah, this guy's actually a crook. You probably don't want to work with him. Or was he instructed?
Or maybe they did, and he ignored them, because that's what people tend to do. People who aren't very bright, even when people tell them things, that doesn't mean they're going to listen. So
on the one hand, Reshnitz confirms the stereotype, but at the same time, I don't really have any sympathy for Mayweather.
Well, no, this is one of those sort of stories that doesn't really have a hero in it, right? Like, there's no good guy in the story. So it's like one guy who was a tool got used, okay, by a piece of shit. That's basically the whole story. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for anybody to have any real feeling about it one way or the other, because there's really not a victim in the case that we feel really bad for.
And let's conclude with this point. Hey, Floyd, how do you feel about tap dancing for the Zio cause now? Burned. If you enjoyed the show, which we hope you did, on this otherwise somber day, we hope you will consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty, despite heavily suppressed yet still growing channel.
We had a couple of new, Liz is a new Patreon.
Patron?
Right there.
Oh,
Liz.
awesome. Welcome, Liz Rowan, for becoming a $5 patron. Really appreciate you being here.
We had a new 5 and a new 10, I believe.
Oh, awesome. And we'll get to that shortly.
Yeah.
Mind wide open. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. We really appreciate it. And now on to the next scroll. One more $5.
Guitar you've got there, dude.
Pirate Justin with the $5 says, we commemorate this Memorial Day. May we not memorialize any more Americans in the name of Israel.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But of course, I would also extend that to American empire in general, because that's not what these people, any of them, have signed up to do.
So I can tell based on the color of this contribution that Teresa not only gifted 5 Revolutionary Change memberships, but she gifted the 5 top Revolutionary Change memberships.
Teresa, that's so sweet. Thank you. It's so nice. We appreciate it.
We have amazing supporters of our channel.
Yes, we do.
That we do. And who is the new $10 patron?
Hold on. It's whatever the last name.
We got quite a few. We remember the days when we only had like 5.
I do, but it's a name. I don't think I'm going to pronounce. There it is. That's it. No, it's another name. It's
still going.
I know.
Jim Talib with the $5 super sticker.
There it is. Shira is the new $10.
Thank you so much, Shira. Really appreciate you being here. Constance with the $2. Let's start an America First program to copy AIPAC in Hey, I'm down. There's nothing wrong with that. Nam Vet 62 with the $10. As a former sailor, I think the idea that friendly fire is killing my friend and trying to sink my ship would be almost impossible to get over.
I do
You're right,
too.
my friend. It is impossible. They can't get
And
over it. And I wouldn't
that's
either.
the thing, like the amount of people that were mentally tormented from this, that are still being mentally tormented from this. Yeah. I'm not getting over it. It didn't happen to me.
Correct. But that's why we have to bear witness, as Jen says. Kenman with the 279 Canadian A. Booker has a small brain. He's not a bookworm, that's for sure.
Ain't breaking any of Newton's laws anytime soon, that's for sure.
Nawal Najer, always a pleasure. Thank you for the 1999. You really are a great supporter of the show. I feel sick to my stomach watching the impunity and reward that is constantly given to the Zio state. No record that Mark Levin has any grandchildren.
Well, he's willing to sacrifice everyone else's. So.
Maybe his own kids are like, we don't want to bear this name anymore.
Maybe.
Citizen Bendejo with the 50 pesos. IDF equals ICE equals Bosque Airport Police. The ICF treatment they gave activists is coming to America. You are versus the data centers. You get iced federal protests, CBDC, iced Fed. You know, Jen, because of the length of our show this evening, we didn't get a chance, and we'll talk about it on Thursday, to talk about the sexual violence that these recent flotilla members have had to deal with. And it's some serious shit.
Now, wait, we're going to be very clear. There is nothing that happened to them that doesn't regularly happen, and then some, to Palestinians, to other people that they're holding hostage, and have happened to many other people and on the other flotillas. Correct. So I am not exactly certain why this information somehow is seemingly to move people right now, that this last group of flotilla participants, I believe 14 of them were SA'd. And it's like, but we heard stories about that from other people in the past. So again, what is different this time? That's what I don't understand.
Comrade Aroshnik, thank you for the $5. My uncle's brother, Private Carl Onstadt, KIA, killed in action by the Nazis in Germany, April 1945. He was 20 years old. In April of 1945. So it was basically literally at the end.
Isn't your uncle's brother your uncle?
Maybe it's from another marriage.
I don't know, but I would just say your uncle. But yeah, that's horrible.
Our best, comrade.
Yes.
Chris Garrett with the $10. Great to see you, brother. How many of the 1,000 mail-in ballots filed a change of address with the U.S. Postal Service? Sounds like paid, and it's actually 10,000, Chris, or I heard as much as 11,000. Sounds like paid for residency for a bought election, and how many of them have dual citizenship? Hey, how many times is this action actually practiced, among other actions, when a desired outcome is wanted for a particular election? That's also something to think about.
Yeah.
Bergamot with the $6.99 Canadian A. Guys, please look into the missing teen in the GTA whose parents claim to have been chasing her in the park at night. Their interview seems odd.
The GTA? What am I missing? What is that?
I'm not sure. Rach, if you can write that down.
Yeah, we'll look into that. I'm not sure what that is.
And finally, Libertarian Social Dem with the 199. Why is it okay for Westerners to be called expats?
Because we're elitist and we demand that. Because we wouldn't want to be called refugees or immigrants. Don't be ridiculous.
We're too important.
I would say immigrant. I would say I'm an immigrant here. If I lived somewhere that
Greater Toronto area. Thank you to our friends north of the border. Thank you for that info. Okay, so we will check into that. And substack.com/@revolutionary change. Check out our writing. Also, make sure you're subscribed to Revolutionary Change on Rumble, as well as Instagram and TikTok. If you guys haven't smashed that like button yet, please make sure that you do. I will be live from New Jersey on Thursday with you guys.
When are you? What's going on? You're just going home?
I've got an appointment that I have to go to.
Oh, okay.
So, with that being said, smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We love you all. We appreciate you all. May this be a Memorial Day that is remembered, that will actually have an impact going forward for all of those that have served, and especially to those who served and are no longer with us.
And guys, if you meet people who have never, we'll always say Free Palestine, but guys, if you meet people who have never heard of the USS Liberty, tell them. Tell them. Tell their story.
And
Free Palestine. I said it.
good night, guys.
Good night, guys.